Hello, my name is Grian, and today I'm back with another video, and this time I'm going to be doing an underground house. Now, I need to tell you before we start, this is not so much a let's make a great underground house. I'm going to be teaching you the techniques today and how to make a really good looking one. So, let's quite literally get straight into it. The first thing you're going to need to have to do is make a hollow space. This is completely underground, so do make sure you either go properly underground or within a mountain big enough to sustain your base. One of the key things that people get wrong when they make an underground base is they make their area too small. Now what I'm building here is simply an entrance hall to the main thing. Because there's a lot to talk about when building an underground base, I'm essentially going to show you things twice, or the techniques twice, just so I can get the point across. So one of the main things you can see already is that I have made a drop-off. I am creating a shape to this entire room, much like when we build an exterior. On the inside in an underground base, we need to have shape. Most people forget, when you are underground, you can create a shape just by hollowing it out just as much as you can making something on the outside. And this is a very, very key part, because people tend to make a box and then think, how can I decorate this box? What they really should be thinking, and what you should be thinking, is how can I make my underground base have a brilliant shape? And I just achieved this with an entrance hall by producing a very quick drop off and creating a couple of pillars which are going to have arches. What I then do is then raise the roof quite literally in the middle between those two arches and create another arch just for the shape of that ceiling. And the entire video that I'm trying to convey to you today is entirely based on you grasping the prospect of having a shaped room. A underground base is completely reliant on its shape, feel, and how you navigate through it and your perceptions, instead of how you decorate it. And trying to get this across is very difficult, which is why I'm not going into like a step-by-step. I'm just showing you how important it is to get the shape right. And we're going to move on straight to the second room, where I have dipped in a lovely little basin, which I could put lots of chests, or an enchanting room, something like that, just to give you some ideas. But that's not really the main point of an underground base, although it is its function. To look good, we need to make something tall. So you're going to have to excavate a lot of space. And I went for a similar design where I have a tall roof and then a taller section in the middle, just to accentuate the parts of the underground build which matter. The basin down the bottom complements the ceiling, which is even taller than the sides. This is really important, and we're going to just outline this shape with a slight frame. We frame just as much on an underground house as we would on an outer house. I don't know what you would call them, you know, building on the outside, on an exterior, we also use frames. We use frames on the inside as well. And that's very important, and I'm just going to copy paste that same one a few times. And it's very, very crucial that we understand that any sort of right-angled shapes or squares need to be smoothed out or given a shape of some sort. Just like we did in the entrance hall, I'm going to be creating that arched roof over the top, and you can see the difference that this has made just instantly, and copying those frames just a couple more times as pillars that look like they are supporting the build really help. Look at that, that was so simple to make, but the shape is what's important here, nothing else. I've used all grey blocks, as you may know, from it just being completely stone brick, cobblestone, and it was all about those little details, the shape of the ceiling, the shape of every section, and even on the pillars I've added some cobblestone fence just to give it that slighter edge and that more interesting detail in it. So hopefully I've got that point across by now. And the rest of the video is kind of just accentuating that point. Even now, in these tiny sections on the side, I'm just making the shapes that are going to improve the overall build. So when it comes to decorating, the finer details are quite important. You might want to choose a slightly different colour palette from what I have, because it is entirely grey. I was going for a rather dwarven look, but I have gone for my very stereotypical conceited G of my underground base, you know, G for Grian. There we go, there's my logo. I don't know why I keep doing it, but every time I build something and there's an empty wall, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna build a G right there. And as you can see, it's really starting to come together now. I never really did finish this underground base because I feel like once you've got the overall shape, you fill it with the stuff that you need in your survival world, such as your loot chest rooms, and your crafting rooms, your smelting rooms, all that kind of stuff. And it's not really necessary for me to go through like how to build a room, because once you've got the concept of having this shape, and this is just one idea of a shape, you could have a cross-shaped room or just something more domed in shape, anything like that. The key factors are accentuating the heights of the room, and hopefully that has come across today. And I feel like if I was told this a long time ago, I would have understood how to make an underground base a lot nicer and a lot quicker. Because I was like trying to make these small square rooms for a long time and thinking, why don't these look good? And it is simply because you can't decorate a small box. I mean, you can make it look nicer by changing the color, adding a carpet, and you know, decorating it that way. But ideally, you want to treat the interior of an underground base like you would the exterior of a normal house that you're building. And that's really the key point of this video, although it did take 7 minutes to get there. So hopefully you've got the idea, and you can just take a look round how I've decided to decorate these rooms. A few other good tips is having thick walls. In fact, that's a very key point, because you need to be able to etch into walls, much like I have with the decorative waterfalls, and with the doorways, as much as you need to decorate them outwards with the pillars and the arches, as I've shown you in the entrance hall here. So you need to make sure that you create an environment which you have enough space to do what you need to build. And unfortunately, that's kind of it. If you want to be able to light it, just stick some torches there or some glowstone under some carpet. Lighting is a fairly big issue, but I'm sure you can manage it on your own. Mostly, it's all about that all-important shape. I recommend that you give it a go yourself and see what you can come up with. You possibly want to try and use a lot more wood than I have, and log and that kind of thing, because it really suits the underground style, or even some stained clay if you can manage to find enough of it. But anyway, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a very different style for me, because the entire video I've been trying to get across one concept instead of giving you like these general tips about building a house. It's been honestly quite weird, and if you haven't got that point by now about the shape, then I quit, like I'm done, like see you later, bye. Like I must have said get the shape right at least 100 times. In fact, you could probably tell me in the comments how many times I said you need to focus on the shape. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. A lot of people did ask for an underground house tutorial for a long time, and it took me a really long time to pinpoint exactly what the issue is with people doing an underground house. And I really, I commented and I tweeted out, hey, what does your underground house look like? I even Google images, what an underground house looked like on Minecraft, and there was just the most awful boxes, and I was like, that's it, it's the box. So hopefully you've got the idea by now and that you enjoyed this video and are able to tackle it if you want. I know that the underground house is a very popular one to do because you don't like to have intruders or visitors in your Minecraft world. Anyway, that's it from me. I would like to also say that the community server is well underway, and I've got a little bit of a crew behind me now, and things are progressing really nicely, so keep an eye out. I know I keep going on about it, but it is going to be a little time before we are ready to go live, but it's all underway. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're listening to my voice right now, that means you've watched all the way to the end, which is honestly the best thing I could ask for out of an audience, because it means you put up with me for 10 minutes today. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. I could have held that